Hi leaders, thanks for watching the next weekly Connect for the third week in November. It is the 16th and 17th. This week we will be teaching the kids out of Judges again, continue our study in Judges, Judges 4 and 5, and we're going to be teaching them all about Barak and Deborah. So if you haven't read Judges 4 and 5 in a while, go ahead and read that before you prepare for your lesson this week. As the kids come in, we are going to be having them participate in chariot races. So our chariot races are going to look an awful lot like wheelbarrow races, where you'll have a child, they'll just pair up. A child will be on the ground with his arms down, and then the other kids will hold his feet up, and that kid will scurry along the ground and try and go as fast as he can with just his arms and his feet raised up. With the kids holding it. So if you're worried about that, if you have younger kids and you're worried about the safety in that, you're thinking maybe the kids aren't strong enough to hold up their body weight with their arms, you can go ahead and just use a chair and have a couple kids push the kids in chairs and still race back and forth in that. The idea is we're going to try and get the kids to realize that, our story coming up is going to be talking about some chariots, and so we're going to just talk a little bit about chariots at the opening, and then when they go in to the story time, they will be ready to transition into our story about another battle that is about to be won by God's people. So your Connect question this week as you go into your story time is, if you were fighting against an army with chariots and horses, what types of weapons would you want? So just ask the kids, let them have a little bit of time to do this. If you're the storyteller this week, you have the opportunity to have the kids talk a little bit. You can pull up a couple of kids or just use a couple of your leaders and have them act out the parts of Deborah and Barak. It's not big parts, they're just simple little sentences, so you could choose even younger kids if you'd like, or you can just tell the story. I know sometimes when you have kids coming up and they're acting things out, it's a little distracting too. So as the storyteller, you decide what's the best for your class. Have the kids act it out, or you just tell the whole story how you'd like to, however that worked better. So you'll just give a brief synopsis on Ehud and what happened last week, what we learned about last week, and you'll go right into talking about how God had said that he would be with Barak and had told Deborah to let him know that he was to go fight off this 900 chariots of iron, but that the Lord would be with Barak and his army, and that they would be able to win. They would win this war. And Barak wasn't all that faithful, and he said that he would go and do it. He would obey God, but he had some conditions as well. He said that Deborah needed to go with him. He still felt insecure about that, and he wasn't completely faithful that God would have his back and that he would win this war. So Deborah said that's fine. She would go with him. However, because of his unfaithfulness, because he was so concerned and didn't have full faith that the Lord would be with him and help him to win this battle, that a woman would be remembered as the person who freed the Israelites from this particular battle. So what happens next? Lots happen. They go to war. Obviously, the Lord wins like he says he always will. The army commander gets nervous because Barak's army is winning, even though that they're up against 900 chariots, and they had far superior skills and far superior weaponry, but they didn't have the Lord on their side. So they are slowly losing, and the commander gets nervous. He leaves, he flees to a small area, a small little town, runs into a woman, Jael, and asks her if she would hide him. She agrees to hide him, but the problem for this commander is that Jael is, she very much loves God's people, and she loves God and honors him, and she chose to take matters into her own hand. And She kills him. If you don't remember how he's killed, read it. It's very interesting. The kids are going to love this story. It's pretty gory, just about as gory as sticking your hand all the way into a very large man's belly. So we have an exciting month in November. The boys are really loving this. The girls, although they act grossed out, I think they're really going to remember these stories and know that God, he can win. He wins always, and he is always on our side. He doesn't leave his people. When he says he's going to be with you, he's with you. So these stories are definitely having an impact on these kids. So tell that story however you would like. Then move right into the worship time. Talk about your offering, and then of course give your blessing to the kids. The blessing this week is in Isaiah 41:10, and it is, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And then we're going to bless the kids by saying, "May you serve the Lord with joy, knowing he's always with you. When you feel afraid or sad, turn to him and he will help you." What a great reminder for the kids, and of course, as always, a great reminder for each and every one of us as we go through trials in this world. We know that we can always count on and lean on the Lord for support. So after the story, just as always, you have the reflect questions. You can continue doing your chariot races with the reflect questions. Maybe have the kids answer a question. If they get it right, then they get to have a chariot race or play any kind of game, however you'd like to do that. But make sure that you leave enough time for your class to make worship maracas. So in your class, each child will have an Easter egg, just an empty Easter egg, and then they'll have 2 spoons, just little plastic spoons, and a little bit of tape which they can decorate how they'd like, just like this. I just colored on it a little bit, so you'll have markers, they can color that. So just a little bit of tape, and then you will have some rice in your room. So I would suggest to keep the rice all in one spot. Have the teacher or your helper be in control of the rice, and as the kids are ready to add rice to their egg, that you help them with that. So when they're ready, you'll have a little bag of rice, and you just have to put the rice in half of your egg. So probably can't, you can see it a little bit. So just scoop a little bit of rice in your egg and seal it up. Now, as we all know, these Easter eggs are not the most secure things. If moved around a lot, they will break open. So in the effort to not have rice all over our church, as we make our cute little maracas, we will put the spoons on both sides. So each child will have 2 spoons. You put it on both sides. And then as you're taping with your little design, make sure to help the kids to tape right along that crack. Just a little bit of extra protection against the flow of rice all over the church. So just wrap that around. Then if you have a little bit of extra tape that they've already decorated, just wrap that around the bottom so that they have a little handle. However they want to decorate it, however they want to do it. So I've just put a little bit on the bottom and wrapped it around the top. And then just explain to the kids that after Jael had killed the commander and Barak had seen that the Israelites were going to be free again from these terrible people again, and the Israelites were going to be free, and they were victorious in this battle, and they knew that the Lord never left them, just as he said he would not. Then Deborah and them, they start worshiping, and they actually sing a song of worship. So we're going to make our maracas, and this will just go home with the kids and remind them of the worship songs and the party and the joy that occurred after the battle was won. So that's what we're doing this week. Next week, we're going to go ahead and continue on in our study in Judges. We'll work in Judges 6 through 8. And as always, if you have any questions or you need any supplies for your classroom, if you want to do some alternate activities, just let your campus coordinator know. And if you have any prayer requests, we would love to specifically pray for you and your family. That's it. Thank you again for watching this Weekly Connect, and have a very blessed week. We'll see you on Saturday and Sunday. Happy teaching.